Hi viewers, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to solve job order costing question from the book Managerial Accounting, 16th edition by Ray Garrison, Eric Noreen and Peter Brewer. I'm going to solve exercise from chapter 2 and I'm going to solve 2-11. Now this exercise have quarters. In this question there is first quarter, second quarter and third quarter, and the data for fourth quarter is missing, and it has requirements total 4. I'm going to solve requirement 1 and 2 in this video, and 3 and 4 I'm going to make a separate video for that. Now the first requirement says, assuming the estimated variable manufacturing overhead cost per unit is $2, what must be the estimated total fixed manufacturing overhead cost per quarter? Now we do have the manufacturing overhead and we have the variable overhead, but we need to find out the fixed part of the manufacturing overhead. Using this data, let's list down the formula. The formula is y equals to a plus bx, where a equals to the estimated fixed manufacturing overhead. This a part we need to calculate. B is variable manufacturing overhead and x is the estimated total amount of allocation base. Now we do have these two variables, and we do have the total cost, but the fixed part is missing and we need to calculate this. So we're going to twist the formula a little for our convenience. I'm going to take this bx to the other side and it will turn into minus y minus bx equals to a. So we're going to solve it with this equation to find out the fixed manufacturing overhead cost. Let's jump to the solution. Manufacturing overhead applied for quarter 1. I'm using the data from quarter 1. You can use it from any of these quarters, obviously leaving out the fourth one because the data is incomplete there. But I'm going to use the first quarter information. So manufacturing overhead mentioned here is $3 lakh. I'm going to use this value. Now the next information is variable cost. It was mentioned in the question. That is $2. I'm going to add this value. The next is unit produced. This again I'm going to use from quarter 1. That is 80,000 units. I'm going to multiply these two values. I get $160,000. I'm going to add these, subtract these two values to get my fixed manufacturing overhead cost. That is $1,40,000. We are done with requirement number 1. Now requirement number 2. It says that assuming the assumptions about the cost behavior from the first 3 quarters hold constant, what is the estimated unit product cost for the fourth quarter? It's asking us to calculate this value. Now we can't calculate it until unless we have a total manufacturing cost, and we can't calculate our total manufacturing cost until unless we have the manufacturing overhead. Now we need some data from the previous requirement. We're going to use it this variable cost amount, and the fixed manufacturing overhead we have calculated in requirement number 1. We're going to use these values to calculate our manufacturing overhead. The formula we'll be needing is again this estimated total manufacturing overhead cost, y equals to a plus bx. A is fixed part B is the variable part of the manufacturing cost, and X is the total amount of allocation base. Total manufacturing cost, the other formula we'll be needing is direct materials plus direct labor plus manufacturing overhead applied. And the unit product cost formula is cost of job divided by number of units. Let's sum the solution. We're going to solve this one first. Manufacturing overhead applied for quarter 4. The fixed overhead cost we have calculated in our previous requirement, that is $1,40,000. I'm going to put this value. The variable manufacturing overhead cost was mentioned in the requirement 1, that was $2. It's also mentioned here in the solution we get, that's $2. I'm going to put this value here. The next is the total amount of allocation base. This I'm going to use it from the 4th quarter, which is mentioned here, 60,000 units. I'm going to multiply these units with the variable cost, and we get $120,000, and now I'm going to add these two values to get my total manufacturing cost, that is $260,000. Now we have this value. You can easily calculate our total manufacturing cost because the other two values are already mentioned in our question. Let's calculate this. I'm going to merge these two formulas, unit product cost and the total manufacturing cost, together to calculate my unit product cost. That was the actual requirement in 2. Direct materials mentioned in a question for quarter 4 is $180,000. Direct labor. Next thing is direct labor, which is again mentioned in a question. $96,000. And the manufacturing overhead applied we just calculated, that is $260,000. We're going to add these three to get our total manufacturing cost. That is cost of job. Okay, now we need number of units to calculate the unit product cost. Number of units is mentioned here, 60,000 for quarter 4. I'm going to put this value, I'm going to divide these two to get my unit product cost, that is $8.93. That's all. We have solved both of our requirements. Do subscribe to my channel.